Good day. This is Group 34 for Learning Facilitation in Higher Education. Our presentation today will be on constructivist approaches to teaching and learning. Our group consists of myself, Ms. Pako Mahachane, Mr. Mohapi, Mr. Gaborone, and Mr. Mokone. For our research, we look at how digital learning reshapes how students learn and how facilitators teach. Connectivism explores how knowledge is distributed across networks of people, tools, and technologies. In higher education specifically, we then see how digital spaces and collaboration drive new learning approaches in these spaces. Our focus with this research is to explore connectivism, the facilitator's role with regards to connectivism, and its challenges and impact in the learning and facilitation space. So what is connectivism? Well, connectivism is a learning theory for the digital age that we find ourselves in. It's a learning theory that explores knowledge having to exist in networks. These networks are made up of people, systems, and digital tools. It also relies heavily on forming and maintaining meaningful connections between these networks. The core principles that we've established are that one must have autonomy, diversity, connectedness, and openness. Thank you. I'll hand over to my next colleague to explain this further.
In today's world, learning is no longer limited to physical classrooms or fixed schedules. It's flexible, global, and shaped by the learner's needs. This presentation explores two key ideas driving this change, which are digital learning theory and connectivism. My name is Tibo Mokone, and I'll be taking you through slide 4, 5, and 6. What is digital learning theory? Digital learning theory focuses on how technology can support and improve learning. It encourages learners to take control of their own education using digital tools to explore topics, solve problems, and build skills. Learners use platforms like MOOC, massive open online courses, and LMS's learning management system to access content from anywhere in the world. It supports lifelong learning, collaboration, and flexible access to resources, allowing people to learn at their own pace and on their own terms. It removes barriers to education by making learning more accessible. Here we speak of rural areas. Connectivism. What is connectivism? What comes to your mind when you think of connectivism? Connectivism is a learning theory designed for the digital age. It suggests that learning happens through connections between people, ideas, and digital tools. In this model, knowledge is not just stored in one place, but spread across networks. Connectivism consists of these following strengths. It fits well with online learning environments where information is constantly changing and shared across platforms. It encourages collaboration, critical thinking, and adaptability skills that are essential in today's fast-moving world. It supports lifelong learning by helping individuals stay connected to new ideas and communities. While connectivism offers many benefits, it also presents some challenges. Information overload. With so much content available online, learners can feel overwhelmed. Without strong digital skills, it's hard to know what's useful or trustworthy. Assessment difficulties. Last but not least, digital inequality. Thank you. I'll be handing over to the next presenter.
Greetings everyone, my name is Gaborone. I will take you a presentation on the role of a facilitator and also on the challenges in the connectivist learning facilitation. The evolving role of the educator, from sage to facilitator. The role of the facilitator has vastly changed in the connectivist learning environment. The fundamental shift is that the traditional role of the educator as the sage on stage or the sole source of knowledge is obsolete in the connected world. It has evolved into that of a guide on the side and more precisely a curator and a network facilitator. The facilitator in action, master node of the network. After setting the stage, the facilitator empowers students to direct their own learning. Expertise shift from having answers to asking the right questions. Here, the facilitator will pose probing questions that stimulate the student critical thinking. Here, the facilitator will help students acquire essential digital literacy skills. On the challenges, moving on to the challenges. On the challenges, we have two common challenges here. Challenge number one being information overload and digital literacy. The problem here, there tends to be information overload, which learners find it difficult to filter reliable sources. Now, to assist students in filtering reliable sources, the facilitator role here must explicitly teach critical evaluation skills, focus on helping students assess credibility of their sources and their trustworthiness. Challenge number two, the digital divide and equity of access. Connectivism assumes access to technology or devices and high-speed internet for all the learners, of which is not always the case. It also assumes that a baseline of digital competency, and these assumptions create digital divide, excluding learners without these resources or skills. The facilitator role in addressing this problem must be aware of these disparities among students. I thank you.
Greetings, colleagues. I go by the name of Happy, and I'll be continuing from where my colleague left off. Let us look at how connectivism impacts both learning facilitation and student outcomes. Under connectivist approaches, facilitators shift from being traditional lecturers to becoming mentors and curators of knowledge. They don't just deliver information. They help students navigate digital networks, evaluate online resources, and engage in meaningful discussions. This approach also fosters collaborative learning and critical engagement, as students are encouraged to connect ideas across platforms and disciplines. However, the results for students can vary. Performance often depends on how ready learners are to take responsibility for their own learning and on how effectively the platform supports interaction. Lastly, motivation and engagement tend to increase when interactive tools and strong facilitator presence are combined. This human connection, even in digital spaces, plays a vital role in keeping learners involved and inspired. Let us go to the next slide, which has conclusion and recommendation. To conclude, connectivism offers a highly relevant framework for modern higher education. In a world driven by technology and connectivity, facilitators are no longer just information providers. They are designers of learning networks that foster autonomy, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. But success doesn't happen automatically. It relies heavily on factors like digital readiness, inclusivity, and thoughtful instructional design. Based on our findings, we have few key recommendations. First, integrate digital literacy training into all curricula to ensure students can navigate online learning environment effectively. Second, adopt blended learning approaches, combining digital and face-to-face interaction to promote inclusivity. Thirdly, ensure equitable access to digital tools and reliable internet connectivity. And finally, encourage collaborative online learning communities where students can learn from and with each other in an open and supportive environment. On the next slide, these are the references that informed our presentation. All right, I thank you all for listening. That concludes our group presentation.